Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another Cosmic Human Design podcast. This show starts so much different than the Rise Up radio show. It's funny. I'm more mellow on this show, and I woke up a little more professional intro. But yes, everybody, we are doing Cosmic Human Design, and this is where you can learn your God's blueprint. You can learn how to live a different type of life where you can understand kind of your DNA and what you're all about and how you're built, and just makes a huge difference in your life. So pay attention, everybody. And if you need to go get your chart, go to cosmichumandesign.com and get your free chart. So you just need to know your birth date and your birth time, and you're all set. And you can go over there and check that out and find out who you are. And then we'll walk you through it on this podcast or any other that we've done. This is the 14th. And hello, everybody. We do have a live chat board. So you're encouraged to join us and comment and ask questions, and we'll get to them if we can. So really awesome stuff. We got our host here. We've got JARIN KENYON, a manifestation teacher. We'll talk to him in just a minute about his human design, cosmic human design readings he did over at the Alien Opera House in Syracuse, New York. And we've got our Yale graduate, Richard Mason, who does all the mathematics and very, very intelligent at the Cosmic Human Design as well. So welcome, gentlemen. How is everybody doing?
Doing pretty good, Greg. It's great to be back with another episode here. Yeah, hello to everyone out there. And feel free to ask plenty of questions, guys. Anyone listening, if you got them. Yeah, it's something I'd like to do. Start doing more of in general is responding to people's questions and comments, because I know that there's been a lot of people who've had a lot of questions about cosmic human design. What exactly is it? How is it different from human design? How's the astrology different? All those types of things. So I am here to answer them.
He's like one of those hotel helpers, when he's fancy hotels you stay in, and the concierge, he will help you through anything you need.
Right.
Darren, what's your role in all this?
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, I agree, though. I want to say that we would love feedback, love questions. I think this is a amazing opportunity for people to catch information that you will not find anywhere else that is cutting edge. But not only that, to get to observe it for free and get to ask questions is an opportunity that you will not get elsewhere too often. So please ask us questions. And no, I'm good. I'm fired off. I mean, I've been doing lots of cosmic human design the last week.
Yeah, so
lots of interaction.
You went to the Alien Opera House, and Donald and Brianna over there, who run that in Syracuse, they do all kinds of excellent things over there, including professional wrestling and roller derby, and they also put on these huge fairs for mind, body, and soul, and all those type of things. And you were over there doing the Cosmic Human Design readings, and I was wondering how everybody responded to that, and whether you got people that knew human design already and were trying something new, or just brand new to it. How was the response to those things?
Well, first of all, I find it very synchronistic that as soon as you said the word Alien Opera House, they popped up on my screen because they just did a live feed. They just started for the day. So we're in sync here with the timing of the experience. They are going live right now. But no, Don and Brianna have an awesome place with all the kinds of things that you've said, all cutting edge and new earth, unity, expansion, consciousness, things going on there, music, art, science, everything else. And I actually taught a few classes there in the last few weeks, which included Cosmic Human Design. And then last weekend, I did some private sessions. I offered short sessions for people. And the experience is people are enamored and amazed. They can feel it intuitionally, which is going to be part of our topic today. They really feel it inside. Their body senses the, pureness of this. you know, from a soul level, from a higher self level. They feel the pureness of it. And I've actually had quite a few people who have dabbed into human design in the past and felt something that caused them to not want to continue with it or not wanting to go into it farther. They started to sense more identity complex or identity, you know, ego aspects to it, even amongst the general human design groups that are out there in the world, with feeling like there's a lot of judgment and putting them into a hole, like putting them, you know, pinning them into a small box, as opposed to expanding expanding their lives and expanding themselves. So that I noticed, and they're all resonating, and I didn't have one person that wasn't feeling it, bottom line, like from the soul, and taking it, you know, new or old. And it's wonderful to see. It reminds me back in Saratoga Springs, which is near the area where I originally met Greg. When I came there about 5 years ago, I brought human design, at that time tropical, there, and it blew up. I mean, there are hundreds of people that know their design in that area since I came in, and there are many teachers, and it spread all over. But it was the tropical. Now I'm thankful to get a chance that we have arrived to the new threshold where, you know, let's just say the universe let in the true information to Earth, through Richard himself here, able to get it correct. And now I get to spread that kind of knowledge. And I'm interested to see the effects that'll have, as well as, you know, the unity that it causes. Because that's really what I'm sensing, is people are they're relating to it on an individual level, but it's also helping them, you know, relate to others. And it's kind of opening up more conversation and harmony and even co-creation, you know, co-creative efforts on a different level than I saw with the old, you know, tropical design that I used years in the past. So it's wonderful to see, and I want to see where it goes from here. I actually happened to teach a class, a brief talk last night down here in Binghamton, an hour south of Syracuse. And, you know, there's about 20 people there or so. And I saw some people's eyes lit up by hearing it. In fact, there was a couple that said, thank God. You know, as soon as they hear the 13, you know, a lot of people are not as familiar with the constellation different sizes, you know, how varied they are. Most people think they're all, you know, they're all the same, which they're not. But a lot of people have heard of the 13th sign, or even the precision. And so when they hear that, they're like, oh, thank God, now I can go into human design more. I had one girl that even said, this was like what I've dreamed of. I've dreamed to come across all this kind of information, and here it is. And I even had, she had a synchronicity bring her that day, you know, to watch, to be able to see me speak, so she could see her divine alignment to even arriving to it. And so it's wonderful to see. I really had very, very little limitation with it, as far as on an essence sense, you know, on its purity and on its impact. You know, people are going to have to, like all of us, and it's never ends. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter how much, you know, Greg or Richard or I study ourselves. There's always more to unravel. There's more to know. So it's a constant journey. But like with anything, you have to do the work. You have to do the inner work to investigate, to get into it. You know, at the beginning, it's going to be inspiring. It's going to be exciting. It gets you going. But to really, you know, make progress in your life, you have to learn some, not overdo it, not be intellectual about it, but, you know, learn what resonates with you and then apply it. And so we're going to see, because, you know, it's relatively new. We had some of us that have been doing it for a while now, about a year or so it's been out. Richard's had it out, but, you know, I'm interested to see in the last couple months, these people that are picking up on it and seeing their effects, you know, 6 months down the line, where it goes.
Yeah, how it absorbs in them, and how their life blossoms from that point on, where it goes. Interesting to see. Yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah, Jarin, and you know, you spoke about unity there, and you know, that's something that I really want in the human design community. You know, I've noticed that you know, yes, there's been many people who have really resonated with the charts and really just been you know, felt that it, you know, represented their true self, you know, very passionately. But, you know, there's also been some people who have been, quite hostile, I would say, even to this this new way of calculating the chart. And I just want to say that personally, I believe that that cosmic human design is the natural evolution of human design and the gene keys as well, and that everyone in those communities, I hope that they'll give this a chance, and I hope that they'll really look at the reasoning and the logic, that I put out there about why this is correct. I know it's correct, and apart from how it makes them feel, I hope they'll give it a chance to see how it makes them feel. I've rarely encountered anyone who came at the chart with an open mind who didn't resonate with it. So yeah, I love the human design community and the Gene Keys community, and I hope that there, I don't want there to be any divisions or hostility in these communities, about this. I'm not saying that you have to accept this, but I think if you, in my personal opinion, and what I really deeply feel, I feel this is the natural evolution of the human design Gene Keys transmission / knowledge. Okay. And, and this is how it's, meant to be, in a way. So it's not that this is in opposition to human design. I think some people in the community have gotten that idea. They've gotten the idea that, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just, want to, I don't know, influence people. I was a manifester in the original human design, and they say, well, I'm just being a manifester. I'm just manifesting things just because. Well, no, like, I didn't really go seeking or looking for this. This is just what happened.
I can affirm that.
Yeah, JARIN was there.
I can affirm that.
Yeah, guys. So that's how I view things. Is this is simply an evolution of human design, and I mean, we can see that in the fact that it just works so perfectly. I haven't changed any of the human design language, or I haven't changed the body graph or the centers or the gates, how they connect. I haven't changed the Gene Keys words, because they all fit so perfectly well when you combine them with true sidereal astrology. Now, how can that be possible if true sidereal astrology is incorrect? How can it work so perfectly well? So yeah, I view this as the next step, the natural progression of human design. And it's my wish that for there to be unity in the human design community, for people to really open up to this, to give it a chance, start talking about it more and more. Ask your human design friends, hey, have you heard of cosmic human design? Because that's what I believe is meant to happen. I believe that this is meant to be transmitted to everyone, to the whole community. And speaking about the human design community, and I think eventually everyone will start to see that this is correct. And when you look at it this way with true sidereal astrology, everything that didn't make sense, it makes perfect sense now, and it's just amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, when we talk about cosmic human design, it definitely ruffles some feathers, because people are like, well, wait a minute. If they know human design, if they build businesses around human design, if they've always known themselves as a projector and all of a sudden now they're a generator, whatever. It's it's can be a little shocking if you've built a little bit of your life around what you've learned. But as you know, throughout our history, when you go from one age to the other, when you go from one school to the other, when you go from one job to the other, there's always potential for a lot of change in your life. And things that you believed 10 years ago, you look back on and go, man, I didn't know nothing then. I've always dreamed of being able to know what I know now and go back to when I was 20 and redo. I mean, it's amazing the wisdom you can gain, just by living experiences of being a human being and just going through life. So.
Yeah, well, speaking of, Greg, one of the main, applications of human design in the future is going to be using it to help raise children, and kind of getting, not to, necessarily direct every moment of their lives with it, but in order to steer them away from incorrect paths, perhaps, that parents often, want for their children. Maybe like there's a parent who wants their child to, they have to play the piano or something. They have to take music lessons. They have to do that because it's just, quote, something, to do, something good to do. There's all kinds of kids who are being raised that way, or how kids have to, go through these, some intense program or something, in order to, get into an Ivy League school, for example. Something, I didn't do that, but, there's so many kids who like go to these, private school academies, and they're just like, they basically have no life, lots of the kids at Yale were like that. They had gone to these private schools and, basically had no life because they're like constantly studying, constantly doing extracurricular activities, constantly. So, but, if they'd seen their human design chart, then maybe they could have seen that, oh, wow, my kid, they really don't want to do this. They really have no interest in that. I shouldn't be making them do that, so, speaking of, going back and, wishing that you could change things, well, maybe it's better to, get it right from the start. That would be the ideal case. It's something that almost nobody alive today has been able to do. But I mean, think about our potential as human beings when we start to live correctly from childhood, because childhood shapes our entire life. And in the Gene Keys, Richard Rudd talks about how we go through three phases, from 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. And each of those different phases is responsible for the development of a different part of your psyche. Like from 0 to 7 is the spiritual phase. 7 to 14 is the emotional, and then the mental. And if you've got something out of place in any of those phases, it's going to affect you basically your entire life.
Yeah, definitely. You're ingraining a program that's starting off in the wrong direction, and now you're going to always overcorrect for it your whole life. So yeah, that's pretty interesting there. That if you can really bring this into a school system and in a work environment, it's amazing to put people where they are strongest and where they're going to be flourishing and where they're going to be happy. Boy, that's a concept. Put somebody where they're going to be happy working and all kinds of stuff. So good stuff there.
Yeah.
We want to get into the authority tonight, gentlemen. What do you think? Show them what the authorities are all about here. Not the police.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to say one more thing in response to all this that I feel inside, and I'm going to speak as a 6-2 manifesting generator as I am in the true cosmic design. But, we're at a time where we're all going in through this ascension threshold where we may have Mr. Smiths around us or inside of us as we break through to be ourselves, as we break through to be free. So oftentimes we're going to see the contrast, or we're going to be outnumbered, you know, and the courage that we need to have is being ourselves, regardless of what anyone else thinks or regardless of what anyone else is doing, not necessarily needing to fit in. And in saying that, looking at when you look at the numbers of the actual people awakening, when you look at the numbers of the actual people looking to go to the new world, looking to head into that new forefront of human evolution and the experience of all that may mean to people out there, the numbers are not that high. The numbers start out very low, and it's about the threshold, the quotient of the ones that are awake to awaken the others. But it starts with a low number, and really it is a low number of people when you truly look around that are on that kind of level. And I think the same thing with this design, you know, with switching to the cosmic design, people are going to resonate that are on board with that, but a large quantity are not, because they actually want they don't want the red pill.
Yeah.
they want the other pill because it helps feed an identity and ego. And it's not to judge what's good or bad. That's why I preface this with my 6-2, because I'm going to sit here and say this is a heresy that is accurate. You know, we are going against the church, but it's because it's real. But it doesn't mean that the majority of people are going to get it, and it doesn't mean the majority of people will get it now. But down the road, there'll be more and more and more. So it's not surprising that, you know, a lot of people that are in the old design will fight it, or, you know, feel an identity crisis with it, or, you know, start to go into more and more. But the reality is, it's pretty hard to argue the natural world. It's hard to argue the natural universe. It's just that you might not have known it. You might not have known that, oh, wait a minute, we're not communists. There's not 12 equal signs. They're all the same sizes, where everybody's the same. Every constellation is the same size. No, people are the same sizes. Trees are the same sizes. Planets are not this. I'm sorry, different sizes. Planets are different sizes, and so are the constellations. So when you actually look at it without an ego glance, where you just see it purely, it'll make sense and it'll resonate. And the ones that do get it are the ones that matter. And then what we do with it and what we go forward with it, that's what matters. It's about quality, not quantity right now. And if you're getting access to this information, you are at that place. And things do change, like Richard said. You know, things evolve over time. So what was, it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. It's here, and it's what it is now. And this is the pure truth. And Richard, I just want to say last, because he did not do this as a manifester. He did this as a manifesting generator. He just was interested in design. I happened to mention sidereal astrology. He happened to not agree with the original tropical and decided to play with it, decided to look at it, came up with it, and then went with it because he was in response to all of it. It did not have a goal to create a whole new system so that, you know, we could prove the other one wrong. He just wanted what was pure and accurate and was the truth. And he did it as his manifesting generator self. That's for sure. And now I know we want to get into authorities. And I think that's perfect, because to me, it's what matters more than anything else in human design, truly, is for you to be able to get in touch with yourself, your feeling, your intuition, your own compass, your own answer, and to choose things that aren't logical, based on the past, based on others, based on emotions, you know, to choose what's right for you.
Yeah, very good stuff there. And yeah, when we talk about where we live now, and you say that most people will not jump aboard with a lot of things, right, that they are considered an awakening because of the god of deception. They've grown up with the god of deception, and it's programmed into them so that when they do see or feel the truth, they shy away from it. They run away from it, and so they will make every excuse not to see the next level of truth. Right? They don't want to go there, and that's a subconscious choice usually. So. Yep, it's just, it is what it is, right? And then you're just going to have to, as a person who is willing to go into the truth, does see the things, does swallow the red pill, right? That we are going to have to realize that not everybody's going, and that we're going to probably be the minority for a while, and that's just the way it is. And you're going to have strong skin and go into the wind sometimes when you're, things aren't easy. You're going to be called a lot of names just for telling the truth. But that's throughout human history, right? The greatest people that we remember throughout history, they were not liked while they were alive. It was after they died, or after they retired, or after whatever, you know. That's when they were admired and seen for what they did. So, pretty interesting stuff. All right, let's take a look at authority. I picked a picture out here, Richard. I don't know if this will work for us, but
Oh yeah.
But
we got.
Sure, no one works.
All right, perfect. So if we're just going to take me for example, I'm a splenic projector. So splenic, and you can see that the third one in, and it is a very quick. The way my design is, I make decisions very quickly. With a snap of a finger, I know if the answer is yes or no, and that's just how I work most of the time. And if I ignore that part of me and I want to sit on an answer and make an answer 2 days later, usually that is not going to work out for me that well. So that's where I'm at with the splenic. Take it away there, Richard.
Yeah, Greg. Well, first of all, just personally for me, I found the authority to be one of the most solid things about the new chart, compared to my old one, then I've really been able to feel and start putting into practice. A lot of people in general might have want advice or how to more easily transition from the old chart to the cosmic human design chart. And yeah, I would say maybe even start with your authority. Start with try listening to, or see if you can listen to, your authority on the cosmic chart. And since I've started doing that, it's like I've gotten back in touch with my sacral. I've got the sacral authority in cosmic human design. I didn't have it in the old one. And now I see that I've consciously started listening to it. It really is a perfect guide for me, and it explains so much about why I would like always want to quit things, because that's something that sacral people sometimes struggle with, is quitting things. If they didn't listen to their sacral and they the sacral response, which is this kind of electrical energy almost inside you that just rises up. You can feel the energy rising up in you. That's the sacral energy. Or it'll also die down. That's how I view the sacral. Is it's this energy that's either throwing up or ebbing down. You can feel it in kind of like these waves, like an electrical generator. The generator, of course, comes from the sacral, having a defined sacral. So yeah, authority, man, it's definitely one of the things you can feel the most easily in human design. Now, as you can see here, we've got like 7 or 8 different authorities. Almost 50% of people have the emotional authority, actually, about 50%. So
that's a high number.
Yeah. And that's the comes from the defined solar plexus. So that means, as a rule, the emotional authority actually affects everyone, because almost everyone you're going to bump into, half of them are going to have emotional authority. And that's why, humans are such an emotional species. We have these emotional reactions. Well, it's because most people have that authority. So yeah, it's interesting how you can look at these you know, different things on the chart and then extrapolate it to the population as a whole sometimes. So yeah, about the emotional authority, let's say something about that, since so many people have it. So if you've got the defined solar plexus, and I just want to say the authorities, they operate in this kind of hierarchy. So if you've got the solar plexus, you're automatically going to have emotional authority. For example, even if you have the sacral defined as well, you're still going to, you know, have the emotional authority because you can feel it more strongly. It can overpower the sacral in a way, just like the sacral can overpower the splenic authority. So there's this hierarchy there it's basically the strength of the response that you can feel, the strength of the sensation, I suppose. And that's why they're in that hierarchy. But the emotional, you know, authority, it operates in a wave. Emotions in general operate on a wave. They go up and down. And the hallmark of emotional authority is that you should wait for clarity. You need to not make spontaneous decisions, because if you do, then you could be either up or down in the wave. And if you are, then you're going to be overly optimistic or overly pessimistic about a decision, and you're going to make the wrong decision. Whereas if you wait for clarity, you get to see how the entire span of emotions feels. And then you can get a much better idea of, well, do I really feel good about this or not? Like, what was it's basically taking the average of your emotions is what emotional people do, or at least what they should be doing. You know, so this is invaluable to you to recognize if you have emotional authority, because it tells you you shouldn't make spontaneous decisions. And I know so many emotional people who do make spontaneous decisions, or who think they should, especially those with a defined spleen as well, you know. But yeah, because if you got both of those, you're going to feel, if you got two of the authorities, you know, you're going to feel both of them to some degree. It's just that one kind of overpowers the other, you know.
So Richard, when we talk about emotional, and you say like to wait a little bit, how long are you thinking like to wait before you make a decision? I mean, is it just like a few minutes to let the emotions calm down, or is it like a couple of hours? Give it some time, you know, and is it like, it's just a reaction usually, right, from people. The emotion comes up, they react because their brain is basically a reaction organism, and they just go, and then all of a sudden they're in a mess because they've reacted at a high peak of emotion, and now they're in a spiral because they're going around. Want to touch on that, Richard?
Yeah, well, you know, I always say you should wait at least a day. You should always sleep on it. Because that's kind of, in my experience, how the emotions operate. They don't really fluctuate so much from second to second, but from day to day. So you need to wait at least a day in order to see if your emotions are going to change drastically. You know, that's usually what it will take is sleeping at least one day on it. On a big decision, you know, and then if you still feel, you know, the same way about it the next day, then it's probably okay to go ahead and go with that. But, you know, you need to notice small fluctuations in your emotions as well. And especially it's important to recognize, you know, if you were feeling, you know, where were you at on the wave the day before? You know, and then you start to recognize that you're operating in this wave, this emotional wave. You start to recognize that. And then you can kind of be intuitive about where you're at on your wave at any given time, you know. But still, you need to actually experience the wave. You know, it's not enough to say, oh, well, I'm down on my wave today, you know, nothing's going to work for me. You know, I'll feel better tomorrow. No, you need to wait and see how you actually feel rather than how you think you'll feel, if that makes any sense.
Interesting stuff. JARIN, are you an emotional authority? I forget.
No.
Okay.
Sacral.
Okay.
Sacral for myself. Yep. I am sacral, just like Richard. I was in the old design. I am in the new. So that hasn't changed. I definitely can feel the emotions of others, but for the most part, it's just my sacral response. I just want to say with authorities, you know, none of them are mental. You'll see one there that says mental, actually. I call that environmental. Or you'll see it as no authority for you mental projectors out there. But if you study the mechanics of that, this goes true with what I'm saying. None of the decisions that we should make is mind-based. And that's the gift of human design, is it shows all different types of intuitions or authorities, inner authorities you could have, but none of them are based on a mental, logical, rational thinking, which is based on karma of the past that's limited answer. It's all an intuitive answer from some other aspect of your body. And as Richard mentioned, it's also not emotional, even though there's an emotional process for 53% of individuals. You're designed to go through the process to get to neutrality, to get to that place of feeling where you just feel neutral and you have that awareness, which is really timing. To me, it's about waiting for the best timing and waiting for everything to coagulate together at the real right time. So it's not an emotional or mental decision, which I would say as a species, unless it's like primal, you know, like fight or flight out of fear, right? That's how the majority of humans make their decisions. And that's what keeps them stuck in the loops and in the false aspects of time and the false aspects, or let's just say the dark matrix. And the way to truly get out of it, besides your intentionality, you know, which we speak about, you know, where you know how to set your intentions and you know how to create reality in the correct way, is that you follow your authority. And when your authority says something, you do it. You have the courage to do it, whether it doesn't make sense or not, whether someone else doesn't agree with it or not, whether it seems like too much money or not, whether it seems like too much time or not, or whether it just completely makes no sense at all. If your authority says it, do it, because you will find out the answer as you go through the process. You know, it will be of the quantum variety. I call it the most vertical of human design. Your authority is the closest that you have of connection to your God, your creator, your higher self, and to be able to pierce through the matrix to where the value of your choice, the value of your action is going to lead to productivity or growth or evolution or happiness in your life. So oftentimes we take an authority decision, let's just say we do it, we think it's for one reason or another, and it turns into be something else. It's like Frogger. You're jumping through the matrix, you take a step, you think that it's going to be for something, but then something else pops in. And then you take that step and then something else, and then that pops in. And that doesn't just go for generators. I mean, in general, I'm saying if you follow your authority, you will be led to positive things, whether it is release and breakthrough or whether it is accumulation and expansion. The universe is there to give to you. And this is the harmonious universe. You know, this is these are the actions that bring about harmony and bring about support from the universe, where the other aspects of making decision, largely mental or whatever else, may at the beginning appear to be right. But lots of karma density may be there, lots of limits. And so it takes courage and faith to be able to truly listen to your authority. I find that there's a lot of people in human design, tropical or sidereal, let's just say people in human design that are in touch with their authority, but they're afraid to act on it. You know, they're afraid to go on it and they don't do it. They don't truly trust themselves. But it is giving into yourself. Even though it's giving up your mind's identity, you're still you getting the answer. It's not coming from someone else. It's still you So it's like you're making way for a superior decision maker within yourself that really doesn't have anything to do with the confines of time and space and the human condition of what normal should be, or what growth is. And if you can do that, it is like a magic carpet ride to take you out of karma, to jump you into your higher purpose, to jump you into what the universe has to give to you. And I'm dramatizing it on purpose right now because it's that important. You know, it's really that important. One decision can change your whole life if you listen to your authority.
Wow. Amazing stuff there. And when we talk about the emotional, it sounds like patience is a virtue would be a good saying for that. Because if you're patient and you wait that night sleep or whenever to make that decision, you'll be in a much better place going forward. And if you can continue that pattern, you're going to get stronger and stronger. And maybe you won't have to wait to the overnight because you're going to understand yourself a little better. But that patience is going to be the tough part at first, because you're going to want to still use the mental part of you to make decisions. And like you said, that just continues the loop, the pattern, over and over and over, doing the same thing, same mistakes, same whatever. When we talk about patience as a virtue, though, I look at that last one, lunar, and is it true that we have to wait an entire month as a lunar to make one of those big decisions? Is that how long it takes a cycle for someone to want to make a decision as a lunar?
Well, the lunar authority is unique to the reflector. You know, the reflector has lunar authority by default, you know, because there's no defined center. So the reflector is the only one who has lunar authority. And yeah, the reflector does kind of have this unique relationship, you know, not only with the moon, but with the cosmos as well, because they're so receptive. So they're, you know, literally absorbing all of this cosmic information at all times, you know. The thing with the reflector, though, is, you know, you notice they don't have any defined centers, so they don't have that same kind of, you know, strong inner feeling of what is correct that the other authorities can give to someone. The reflector, and that's why, you know, the strategy is to wait a lunar cycle, 28 days. It's basically saying that the reflector needs to, you know, be in tune with the cosmic waves, with the cosmic environment. And every 28 days, the moon goes through all 64 of the gates on the wheel. So over time, that creates this reliable pattern. You know, the reflector will be sensitive to that, and then that can guide their decisions. It's literally like they're reading the cosmic, you know, information, and they're able to tell from that, you know, how things are going to be over that period of time, over the 28-day period, because it's a repeatable pattern. So, and the reflector becomes in tune with that. And then they're able to base their own decisions, you know, since they don't have that same strong inner, you know, for example, sacral, they don't have that sacral response. So it's very important for them to be sensitive to, you know, their surroundings, the people they're around, their environment, their location. Now, at first, I would recommend, you know, trying that out, trying to wait a whole 28 days if you're a reflector, and see if you can start noticing the patterns over a period of time. And, you know, I would recommend, you know, if it's a big decision, you know, yeah, try it out. Try waiting the whole 28 days, you know. No, but if it's a decision that needs to be made quickly, then, you know, I mean, I would make sure you have some friends around. Those are very important for a reflector, because then you can use them to kind of gauge how you're feeling about something and make your decision off of that if it needs to be made quickly. So no, I would say no, you don't have to wait the whole 28 days, but I think it will be a fascinating process to go through that and see and you know, become more attuned to this cosmic information coming in.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff there. And I think that with the lunar, everybody can rest assured it's a very low percentage of people. So
yeah, very rare. Reflector is very rare.
Imagine a world where 70% of the people had to wait a month to make a decision. That would be something, huh? All right. We got a pretty interesting chat board going on right now, Richard.
Oh yeah.
So this one guy here, Brandon, he said he went from a 3-5 manifesting generator to a 5-1 projector. And his personality sun is in 45 or 44.5, and the Earth is at 24.5. That sounds like a pretty big change. Number one, going from a manifesting generator to a projector. That's a tough one, because it's a much different place to be, and I wonder how he's adjusting to that, because the things that may have really frustrated you before may now feel better. You might be like, oh, now I understand why this happened and that happened. So that's pretty interesting. That's quite a change there.
So he went from a manifesting generator to a projector.
Yeah, he went from a 3-5 to a 5-1 projector.
Yeah, very interesting. You know, I know someone else who also went from a manifesting generator to a projector. Our friend Marla, who's on the show.
Yep.
You know, that was her process, and she mentioned to me that one of the things she felt was she always felt you know, really stressed out around people, like they were draining her energy, you know, and that's kind of what it will feel like sometimes if you're a projector. If you're actually a projector, you'll feel eventually drained if you're around all these generators all the time who, you know, won't stop working, you know. and you'll feel like, you know, God, guys, you know, you'll feel like, I don't know, you're inadequate or something, maybe, that, you know, because it's like they'll keep on going when you'd rather approach it in a more strategic way, or I suppose, or something like that.
Oh, I felt that for sure. I enjoy working hard, and I'm always coming up with new ways of being creative, but I get burnt out after a while. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep up with, you know, the daily tasks, the daily work, you know, the daily full-time jobs. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's so draining on me. To compared to, I like to burst it out with creativity for a while, and then love to go into nature or go to the beach or something. That would be where my dream scenario would be for my energy levels and the way I would recharge and where I'd want to be creative. So interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you make me think of, Greg, is beyond the types, when you were speaking there, because we often talk about the types. You know, you made me think of my undefined root, you know. So you have to look at other parts of your chart. So I'm a manifesting generator, but I have an undefined root. And when I don't have that gas, I don't have it. When I have it, I have it. That's one of the telltale signs from my old chart to the new, is my root changed. And it completely is more accurate to me. So I learned that when I have it, to go with it. And when I'm in a different place with it, to do something else. So you're speaking about a projector in that sense. And I just wanted to bring up another aspect. You know, this is where human design takes you. And this is why the charts are unique. And this is why you want to, you know, learn beyond just the basics and then identify yourself as that, because manifesting generators especially are very different with how they're wired, including projectors. They're also
Yeah.
very different with how they're wired. So Greg's, got that creative pump. So he wants to go, but when he's off, just like any projector would be. So you have to become keen on the subtleties of what that is for you, which is a feeling. As much as this is all analytics and intellectual, it's just a feeling. And the goal here is to get you in touch with your feelings. And the goal here is to help you be yourself. And then I just want to comment quick on Brandon going from a projector to manifesting generator. Like we said, that's very common. You get completely new data. It's not just a different of degrees. There's a variety of changes that go on here that's going to make your chart different. And the thing is that I see is, instead of saying what's wrong or right, we could also say what's old or new, what was and what worked for us before, or what we tried to be, and now where we're being nudged to be, and what's going to work for us now is this is the now. So there are some people I very much respect in human design that are feeling this, hey, I was this before, but now that's not working anymore. This is actually starting to work. Wait a minute, this is me. Oh, I can see this is the real me now. And rather than look at it as good or bad and my whole identity has been erupted, they're just looking at it as, oh, this is now, and this is resonating with me now, and this is working for me now. So you'll have to try that out for yourself. But I think deep down, my gut is telling me you already can sense and feel that, hey, I'm actually seeing myself for the first time on a human design chart. I'm seeing who I really am, not who I was trying to be and trying to fit into.
Yeah.
Brandon also said, made a comment that, he had some of the channels that he didn't have before that he'd always resonated with. And for me personally, this is something that, was absolutely mind-blowing to me, because I remember when I was first studying the gene keys and everything, I remember reading certain gene keys, and I was like, oh man, I thought for sure I'd have that one. Like, how can I not have this one? It's so like, me, it's got to be me. And then, whoa, like in the new chart, it's there, and it's, in a, and it all makes complete sense. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
like intuitively you knew that that's what you should have been. And there, when you got to the right cosmic human design here, all of a sudden you're like, yep, I got it now. That's mine.
And it's also funny, Richard Rudd, the creator of the Gene Keys, on one of his Gene Keys audios, I think it's the 18th one, at the start, he mentions how, it's not in his profile, but he felt a very strong resonance with it. And then I calculate his chart, and he does have the 18,
Wow. Yeah, pretty interesting there. And there was a question about splenic. Is it intense or is it subtle? And to me, it's intense to me. I know immediately, and I'm charged to go do something about it. So like, I'm like, whoa, that's definitely what I want to do. And I'll either go look something up real quick and save it so that I know what I wanted to do in that moment and get to it later, or I'll go and do it right then and start working on whatever that new found idea is. So that's how it works for me.
That's perfect. That's a classic root to sacral channel, or a root to splenic channel. So, yeah, right. No, you get, if it's right and it's strong and it's right, then you get that adrenaline charge. You get that adrenaline, a drive to go get it done, or to go forward. Especially you, Greg, though, because you're motivated. You're motivated, and you're in your passions, and you want to accomplish things and grow. So when you feel that, you'll go with it. And I want to say, I feel the same way. I got asked this question before too. Like, even with the sacral, sometimes it is really strong to me. Like, sometimes I literally have the physical warm sensation, not just the electric sensation, but I actually can feel my whole body warm up. Right. And then sometimes they're not. They're very subtle. It's not overwhelming my body. I just can still feel that rise, like Richard's talking about, but it's not as strong. And I think that people are asking me questions, should I go on the soft ones or just the ones that are strong? And it's like, no, if you're getting a feeling, go on it. But if you're not getting a strong feeling, then maybe it's just not that important to you, or it's not that big of a decision.
Yeah.
So you have to get in touch with your own self. And then the last thing I want to say is, with any of these, this is dependent on a variety of conditioning factors. So obviously transits have a change. Who you're around has a change. Your current mental and emotional state is going to have a big effect on whether you're in touch with your authority or not. You know, and if you're feeling emotions from others and you haven't let it go, then you're not going to be in touch with your sacral or maybe even your splenic as much. And if you're too much in your mind and your mind is electric and going really fast, you know, then maybe you're not going to touch in with the magnetics of your body as much. So you have to have at least a somewhat of a calm or clear mind and somewhat of a calm or clear emotions, or at least be in your passion and be in a feel good state for you to even be able to truly gauge your answer, or not. Because a lot of times maybe the body would try to signal you, but you can't sense it because you're paying attention to something else. Your mind or your conditioning influence is affecting you. So maybe that's a time when we all want to pause and not necessarily rush on anything. And you sacrals out there, you can always ask yourself, because you'll always get another opportunity to get it back, because the sacral will respond to sounds. So you don't have to hurry. Greg's impulse is a little different. When he gets it, he's got it, and that's it. The splenic doesn't get it back. So that's why he's learned to go on it when it comes. But I'm sure you could admit, when you're busy at work or you're under conditioning of other things, then you're not going to maybe sense it as strong.
Yeah. Yeah. The law of distraction, right? And then what happens is a lot of times I'll be like, oh, I got to write that down. And I mean to, but you get too much going on and you forget what that was. And so that can definitely happen. So if you are in a place where, you're driving or you're doing this or you're doing that, I always have my phone where I have the notes app or something, or I can do a voice memo, or I can even call JARIN up on the old messenger and leave him a voice message about my idea. And that way I'll have it saved and he can listen to it and maybe give me some feedback as well. Cause it's always nice to bounce ideas and then you come up with even a better, generated idea. No pun intended.
Good pointer, Greg. I often say that to people if you get some clear epiphany or idea or answer, to write it down, even if you can't do it right then, because you'll miss it. So for anybody, it's healthy to write down. And if you can't get to it right away, then at least you've got it. You have it on your pillow before you go to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. But you have it so that you can still act on it. It's a good pointer.
And Cosmic Human Design will get into relationships and kids and all that stuff eventually, right? We'll get there. But when I think about it, if you know your wife or husband's or girlfriends or whoever, if you know their Cosmic Human Design and you know your own and you know their authority and all that kind of stuff, it can really help you, because you feel like maybe, like sometimes as a projector who's splenic and all that, sometimes I'm either guilted or shamed into acting the way I'm acting, right? Like I said, maybe sometimes I need time alone. Sometimes I need to just, go out into nature and just unwind and just recharge. And sometimes if the other person is not that way, they're not that authority, they don't make decisions that way, they don't, they're a generator, they never run out of energy, whatever, then they're not going to understand where you're coming from. And they're going to think, why aren't you acting like me? What's your problem? Right? So you have to understand that if you can understand each other's Cosmic Human Design, it can go a long way into a healthy relationship. So keep that in mind. What do you think, Richard?
Yeah, Greg, I can't wait for the day when, like maybe we'll make a dating app or something that uses
there you go.
Design charts. That would be great. Oh yeah, man. This has endless potential applications for relationships, and as a whole, I think one of the main I guess broad goals of Cosmic Human Design is to have people interact with each other more naturally, more synergistically, which happens to be my personality sun gift of synergy. So maybe this chart will lead to more synergy among people generally. I think that's where the potential is, and open up a lot of trapped energy.
Dogs.
All right.
Yeah. So right towards the end of the episode here, but so when we talk about relationships, all that stuff, Richard, what would you say, if you were just to guess, would be a good match? If you could pick two separate people, right, that are their designs, what would be a good match?
Well, before I talk about the specific designs, I do want to say that in my experience, if you have a birthday that is a quarter away from someone else's, in general, they'll be a very good match for you.
Interesting.
Because the sun and earth, they kind of alternate in every 3 months. Every 3 months. So if you're born 3 months before or after someone, 3 months, 3 months, 6 months,
9 months,
or 12 months, 9 months, 12 months, then you're going to have some of the same personality, sun and earth, which, is a big part of your personality. And so, keep that in mind, might be helpful. Now, as far as the designs, well, in general, it's good for projectors, for example, to be with the generator. There's a natural synergy between projectors and generators. The generator provides the energy and the projector provides the direction. So it's a very natural relationship. In general, it's good for the non-energy types, the manifestor and projector, to be with the generator. They're naturally attracted to a generator. Now, two manifestors might find it difficult to be together because they're always doing their own thing. They're always
but they may love that.
Yeah, they may love that. Any types can be compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting though?
Yeah.
That's go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it depends on whether you like opposites or the same. And that's going to be dependent upon your unique signature, your unique genetics. That's going to determine whether you're more into the opposite or into similarity. And I think it's for me, I look at the profiles as a large aspect to whether we are contrasting or whether we kind of are on the same wavelength, to where especially if you have someone that's the same profile of you, at least in my experience, you get them, you resonate with them, and it's easy. It's easier when you're with that person. The types don't matter as much to me, albeit, like Richard said, I say the same thing, that opposite types really support one another. I think that opposite types support one another, but there are some profiles, and if you look into it, I'm sure Richard would explain it, but if you look into it, some of the opposite, there are some polarizing profiles versus synergistic ones. And I find that makes a big difference with how people get along with one another.
Yeah, really interesting. Go ahead, Richard.
And also, I want to say there are these relationship charts that I can make and that have been made, where you look at the number of defined centers that two people make. And that dictates in general what kind of theme the relationship is going to have. Like if two people have all 9 of the centers defined, then that's those two people, they're going to be complete together. They're going to feel complete with each other. Whereas if there's a bunch of open centers, there's like 5 open centers, then the relationship's going to be probably more difficult because there's all this conditioning coming in through the open centers. And maybe they feel somewhat empty in those areas when they're together. And also, the more electromagnetic channels people can make together are the most important for a relationship. So when one person has one end of the channel and the other has the other end, and they connect, that's an electromagnetic channel. And that is the major factor in attraction. So the more electromagnetic channels, the more you're going to be, attracted, like electricity to someone.
Wow. Very, very interesting stuff. We went into a little overtime, but that was all good. That was a lot of fun. All right, guys. That was your Cosmic Human Design podcast for this week, and hope you guys learned a whole bunch. We covered a lot of topics there, and what an excellent way to end that on relationships, which seem to be one of the biggest and most complex thing for us to handle as human beings. So if we can get a little bit of a help on that, a little grasp on that with Cosmic Human Design, that's a big plus. So all right, guys, you can go get your Cosmic Human Design chart for free on cosmichumandesign.com, and check us out on YouTube/Cosmic Human Design. And this is our 14th episode. Plus, Richard puts all kinds of other stuff up on there on YouTube. So check that out. Get your knowledge on. All right, everybody. We're on every other Wednesday. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. And we'll see what kind of topics we get into next time. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show.